Did Endgame just expose Omid Scobie as an employee of Harry and Meghan? Well, I've got a paralegal on deck to interview, and whoo, does she have some interesting ideas. Hey up everyone, it's me, Stef the Alternate, your nerdy alternative, and welcome to another dose of the Daily Nerd, where I break down the royal news and gossip of the day that's pretty much got me eye, and oh my goodness, I was speaking to my very, very good friend Chandler Remington last night, and we had a very, very interesting conversation, and I was like, we have to do a video on this, like, right away. So here she is in the flesh, my good friend, live from LA, Chandler Remington. How are you doing today, hon?
I'm doing great, Steph. I'm so happy to see you.
I'm so happy to see you too. It's been a hot minute, but thank you so much for appearing on my channel today for this. So yeah, we were discussing the whole Harry, Meghan, Omid Scobie situation, and we came to a very interesting question from what we were discussing, which is: has Endgame actually exposed Omid Scobie as an actual employee of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle? Now, before we dive into that question, I just want you, Chandler, just to introduce yourself to the folks at home, who you are, and essentially why they should be listening to your viewpoints in the first place.
Sure. Well, I'm Chandler Remington. I am a paralegal from Los Angeles, California, and I've worked in the entertainment industry. So while I'm on my way to law school and I'm planning on becoming an attorney, I have experience. I've been working in the entertainment industry. I started my first job in 2018, and I worked for an entertainment attorney, and I know a lot about non-disclosure agreements, and I have an inkling about what might be going on here just based on what I've seen in Omid Scobie's interviews. The language that he uses, the way that he talks about Harry and Meghan, it all points to having a contract with them. And I have an idea what that contract might consist of.
Okay. And if you want to hear and see more of Chandler Remington after this video, and why wouldn't you, then please head on to her channel, youtube.com/Remy_legal. She is going to restart her YouTube back up again shortly with a brand new series. So make sure you subscribe and give her a friendly like and follow there. So getting into this then, Chandler, I suppose, really, what was the main giveaway that made you think right at the beginning, penny conspiracy theory, whatever, Omid Scobie's employed by Harry and Meghan? What made you think that in the first place?
Well, I think it's pretty obvious just based on the way that he talks about them. He does that sort of double talk thing that everybody's noticed. He uses his words very carefully in the way that he answers questions. Now, in that one interview that he does, he says that he's not friends with Harry and Meghan. So what is he? Why does he know so much about them? Why is he so in their corner? Why is he so for their cause? The amount of information that he knows, the fact that he has been involved with them since Finding Freedom, and the way that he says very carefully, oh, well, I was never, in a private conversation with Meghan, where she gave me information. He uses language in a way that makes me think he's got an agreement. He's not allowed to talk about it, but he is on their side and they have contracted him out to do their dirty work.
Have you seen something like this before play out with like other celebrities where a similar situation like this has happened before, where someone is using the same language and it transpires that, yeah, they may not be friends, but yeah, they do have an NDA and they do have a form of a business relationship. Have you seen that play out in the past before like this?
Oh, absolutely. And not only have I seen it with clients of people that I've worked for, attorneys, but I've also seen it privately in friend groups in Los Angeles, because a lot of the time you'll have people who have connections to famous people, and those famous people have secrets that they don't want getting out. So sometimes you'll see things with celebrities where they'll have a, perhaps some kind of a tryst with somebody, or they'll have a party, and they'll have you sign a non-disclosure agreement, because if that got out into the press, it would look very bad for them. And so NDAs are very common in Hollywood, and NDAs would be something that Harry and Meghan would certainly use because they want to protect their bottom line, which is their reputation and their image. So anybody who's close to them, anybody who works for them, their nannies, their drivers, they're all going to be signing NDAs.
So does it mean that by having an NDA, you automatically do have a business relationship with them? Does it mean that having an NDA, you are automatically somehow an employee of them, if that makes sense?
Well, the answer to that is no, not necessarily. However, NDAs do go hand in hand with employee contracts. So if you sign an NDA with somebody, you are in a position to know privileged information that would be damaging to that individual. So when you sign a contract, you are technically having a kind of business agreement with somebody, but whether you're employed with that person or not is speculative.
And like you said, right at the beginning, it's really a case of, yeah, listen to what he's saying, but then listen to what he's not saying, right?
Precisely.
Because one of the points that you made out, and I was like, oh my goodness, yeah, from a linguistic analysis perspective, that makes sense. He's at pains to say, I'm not friends with Harry and Meghan,
Right.
but then doesn't explain the actual dynamic of the relationship that he does have with them. That, opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, he does. He does, in our opinion, have some form of relationship with them. And if it's not friendship, then what is it? And like you say, how is he getting all this information from? I mean, I remember the first excerpt that was released and through the People magazine, and it said something along the lines of, on the day of Queen Elizabeth II's passing, Prince Harry gets a phone call and it's an unknown number or something along those lines, and he usually never answers them. But Megsy turns around and says, you better answer that. A, how does he know that Hazard doesn't answer unknown numbers? B, how does he know in this instance he made the exception to then answer an unknown number? And then C, how does he know that Megsy was there and said, you better answer it, and was the catalyst for Hazard to make the exception to answer the unknown number in the first place?
Exactly.
So, yeah, a lot of this is absolutely sus. Now, in terms of like your research and everything that you've seen so far with Omid Scobie and the fallout with Endgame, is there anything else that you've seen that points towards the possibility that he is employed by Hazard and Megxit? In your opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, of course.
Yeah, sure. I mean, and I'm just going to put out the caveat that I haven't ever seen, any employment papers drafted between the two of them. I haven't seen records, but I have seen the way that he talks. And he said something else very peculiar in that one interview where he talks about how he's not a member of the British press. He's a member of the American press. And that puts him in a position to be able to say things and do things that people in England cannot, which is why he would be the perfect kind of person for Harry and Meghan to employ as a mouthpiece. I feel also very strongly that the way that he's gone about this, I have absolutely no question that he intentionally sent that manuscript to the Dutch publisher. That was no accident. That was no error of translation. That was purposeful on his part. He did that very cleverly, and he did it with the intention to release that information and to make it very difficult for him to be sued by the royals for defamation. But the fact that he's putting himself in the crosshairs of a defamation lawsuit, it could be strategic on his part. This could be a quid pro quo kind of arrangement where Harry and Meghan feed him information and they give him suggestions, and then he gets to sell books and he gets to benefit from it financially. But it would be very risky of him to put himself in this scenario where now all of a sudden the royals aren't talking to him anymore because they know they've got his number. They know what he's up to. And so essentially, I think that he's got a bid from Harry and Meghan to put this information out there, because don't you think that Meghan is loving this controversy? I mean, she says, oh, well, I'm very sad that I don't get to go to Sandringham and I'm very upset at that. That is very intentionally done to distance herself from him. She doesn't want to have any association with him, but I think that he's doing it at her behest. Call me crazy. This is just a theory. I'm just speculating. But from what I've seen, and I can read between the lines, I know how this goes.
Oh my goodness. Loving the tea, loving the tea. As ever, yes, this video is opinion, conspiracy, theory, whatever, guys. But you know what? Let's end it there for now, guys. If you appreciated what was coming out of Chandler's gob, and of course you did, why wouldn't you? Then please head on over to a YouTube channel, youtube.com/Remy_legal. I'll leave the link in the description bar below. Give her a friendly subscribe. Let her know that I sent you. She is going to be restarting her YouTube channel up shortly, so you're going to get a lot more fantastic and brand new content from her. Also as well, from yours truly, if you liked what was coming out of my gob, and why wouldn't you, then make sure on your way out you subscribe to join our alternate tribe. I'll be honest, help us get to 100k so we can get that silver play button right there and hopefully cause a Christopher Boozy meltdown on Twitter, because I'd like to see that one. Comment down below your opinion, conspiracy theories, whatever's. Also as well, if you've got some very strong opinions about what was just being discussed, and I bet you do, then make sure you send me a super thanks. It's just below this video right here. We can have a conversation about this because it does guarantee a response from me. And until the next time, you guys, laters!